Hello, everyone. My name is Jacob Forton. I'm the host of Doers Within Us. And this is the first of many, actually 11 conversations with some really amazing builders of Africa Futures 2022 cohort participants. And it's a collaboration between Doers Within Us podcast and African Diaspora Networks, Builders of Africa Futures program. And I'm really honored, and it's such a privilege to have with me today the first of many Builders of Africa's Future opening this series. Her name is, please forgive me if I don't pronounce it right, but her name is Hyasintha Ntuyeko. Did I do it right?
It's okay, don't worry.
So please, just give me the right pronunciation. Now I'm from Africa, I need to be able to pronounce African names. So
It's Hyasintha Ntuyeko.
Hyasintha Ntuyeko.
Yeah.
That better?
Yeah.
I have to try. And she is the CEO of Kasole Secrets. And it's such an honor to have you here. I was lucky enough to attend the one of the intros of the Builders of Africa Futures Cohort 2022, and it was just really incredible, the stories that were there, the people that have been selected for this cohort, and it's such an honor to meet someone like you and learn about your personal story. So thanks for being here on the podcast.
Thank you so much.
And one thing that we just want to open is just can you just talk a little bit about, before the podcast started, those behind the scenes we talked about, you told me you came from Tanzania. Can you just tell us about Tanzania, whether you grew up there, just like some background story, a childhood experience, growing up if you grew up in Tanzania, but just your background and how you came to Tanzania as a start.
All right. Yeah, thank you so much, Jacob. As you said, my name is Hyasintha Ntuyeko. I'm the founder and CEO of Kasole Secrets. I was born and raised in Tanzania in a region called Dodoma. Dodoma it is the center of the country, and it's actually the capital city of the country. So I am the second born out of 4 children. I had 2 brothers and I have 2 brothers and 1 young sister. I would say, like, how I grew up. I was born in a family of father and mother together, and then challenges occurred at the age of 7. They had to go different ways. Yes. So we ended up being raised by mother herself. From that age throughout, I could say, my adolescence, and now I'm an adult. I'm just depending on myself. Okay. So I would say that I remember my mom being a very strict mother,
I knew it's gonna go over there. It has to be a strict mother, because the way you come out, mom had to be strict.
Very strict mother, and I always, when I look back on how she raised the 4 of us, I always feel so proud of her, because I know because she was so strict, and that's how I could say myself, I became who I am today. Yes. And also I learned to appreciate life. My mom ended up being not being employed, so she ended up doing small business to support us study and run our day-to-day life. And at some point I have to help her. Sometimes I had to cut my other activities and help her with small business. And I could say that really helped me to really appreciate life. But also as a grown-up now, I understand what kind of struggle she was going through to raise all 4 of us. Yes. So as a young child, my dad was a pilot by training. And I remember when I was having this opportunity living with dad and mom under the same roof, I was really wanted to be a pilot too.
Mm-hmm.
That was something that I really wanted, because I was looking at my dad and I was like, I want to be like him. So I was having this mentality of being a pilot, but after separation, I think somewhere in between, I kind of lost that kind of
aspiration.
Yeah, that kind of aspiration. But what I kept pursuing is studying science. So I went to all public schools from Form 1 to Form 6, and I did my science subject, and I really liked science. But after my university, after my high school, I felt like, oh, I'm so tired of science. I felt like so overwhelmed with science, so overwhelmed. And then at that point, I was like, I just want to drop science and all these things. But again, I was being supported by my uncle in my school fees and all other things. And my uncle happened to be a medical doctor, and he couldn't believe on any career other than science.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I wanted to do engineering, and that was something that I always wanted to do.
Yep.
Of course, the pilot thing just disappeared, but I wanted to be an engineer. That was the thing. And my uncle was like nurturing me towards that career. But after my high school, I was like, no, I'm not gonna do any science subject. I just want to do business. I want to do business administration, do my bachelor into that area. And my uncle was completely against that. It was like, no, you cannot do business. It cannot take you anywhere. Engineering is your thing. It can feed your children. Your mom now wants you to support her back. So when you go with this kind of, for him, he did not consider business as a career. He said like anybody can do business. Exactly. So get a concrete kind of course and then you can do that maybe in your MBA or something. But for me, I really wanted to do business, but my uncle was so bitter and he didn't let me do that. Yeah. Then I decided to do engineering. So I went.
So you folded.
Yeah. That time. So when
I think you folded. You went with your uncle's recommendation at that time, right? You decided to do engineering. Yeah, so I decided to do engineering because my uncle also, and I don't know if it's right if I say in African culture, it's right when I come down and say in my own community, my own family. Yep. I just found myself that being like my mom wasn't in a position of always being able to support us to go to school. Yep. And then her relatives were kind of step up into it, especially when they see a child is doing very good in school. Yes. So for me, going to school, I was being supported by my uncle. I could say my uncle was supporting like 90%. Yes. And then the other members were supporting like 10% of my school fees and all the things that is needed. But again, when it's come for the career choice, I found that my career choice was falling on the responsibility of these people who were supporting me. So they were so vocal on knowing what I want than me telling them what I want. Exactly. So I just found myself like, okay, these are the people who have invested in me. So I have to follow what they have, like they're advising. So anyways, cut the story short, I went to engineering. I did my engineering and I performed very, very well. I was like among those top performers in university. I graduated with my first class degree and all these things. Such an active student, very, very active. But again, after my university, and through this period of adolescence toward going to university, I was having this one big challenge that I used to go through. And this was the challenge on menstruation. So I could say like me growing up, I used to be that kind of child who is very, very, very active. Yes. Like when you see me quiet, hiding in the corner, you have to know that this child is not okay. Very, very, very active.
So when I reached puberty, I started getting the menstrual cramps.
Yes.
And these menstrual cramps were things that I couldn't understand very well, because that time they're coming very strong. There's sometimes they disappeared. And sometimes I even don't understand why I have to go through this kind of craziness, pain. So I used to ask a lot, like, why these things is happening? Why? You know? And without knowing, me asking, it was something that was not acceptable. Like, it's like you're exposing your things, like you're letting people know you're in a business. That's the thing that you have to hide for yourself. Yeah. But for me, I didn't know that. But all that I wanted to know why. Just like, why am I going through this thing?
Exactly.
But maybe nobody was knowing why. But I remember one day when I was asking, one of my relatives was very, very scolding me and told me, like, every woman is going through it. And there's no point of you talking to everybody. Why are you advertising your things? Keep quiet. The moment you have your first child, you'll be fine. So that's the thing. And then I reached a point, I said, like, okay, I'm not going to talk about this. I'm not going to share it. So I went through my O-level to A-level education with this kind of challenge. Yes. And I said, like, there's nothing that I can do about it. Exactly. And then when I went to university, yes, and I studied engineering, that's the time another challenge kind of added up. Mm-hmm. And this was the quality of the menstrual product that I was using. And through my O-level to A-level, I was in boarding school. Yes. So it was easier for me to go back to dormitory, come back to the class. So it was very easy for me to manage. So I didn't notice much about the quality rather than the cramps. Mm-hmm. But when I went to university, I found myself in a situation which was very tough. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. When I was in a class whereby we were only 4 girls, and the rest of the classmates were men. And I went in a course whereby we had to spend much of the time outside, and even the coursework, everything. So I did telecommunication engineering. So sometimes you have to go all the way to the hills, back to the forest, climbing the towers. So when you're in your periods, those products cannot really accommodate you. They burst. They make you feel like, and sometimes you are in a place whereby you feel like you can't change. There's not even a facility for you to change. Exactly. And you're given a task which needs a lot of your attention. For instance, like I remember those days in school when we go to the site visit, we were troubleshooting these transmission systems. And these transmission systems, when the backbone is down, it kind of make the whole network down. So you really have to work hard to give back the network. Exactly. At least to so that's the kind of work with a lot of stress. So yes. Mind, like, who are these people who are making this kind of products? Exactly. I'm a kind of a busy kind. Was my very first question, asking myself, who are these people who are making these products? Exactly. That for a person like me, who is supposed to, let's say, go to site visit in the rural areas, spend a lot of time traveling, and after reaching to that place, there's not any kind of facilities to support me change whatever I want to change. Exactly. But even if when I got a facility to change, when I go maybe climbing the tower or doing whatever work that I'm supposed to do, all my mind is on the product that I'm using, because it is not accommodating me in a way. And this is the field whereby you're surrounded by men. And when you stain yourself, you kind of feel like it's the end of the world. Yep. And you have to wear trousers. It's not like you can wear any other kind of clothes, because you have to wear trousers to accommodate you very well when you climb up there. So that was very first question that I had. Who are these people making this kind of products? What is their mind at? What are their customers that they're targeting? Like, are they targeting people who are sleeping at home? Or are they targeting these women who always travel? and most of the time do not have access to this kind of things.
Exactly.
So after my university, I said I want to be part of the solution. So straight from my university, I joined to entrepreneurship.
Yep.
And I started by selling sanitary pads and cosmetics.
Yeah.
And these are the products that I was getting from Kenya, Nairobi, and getting from there and selling it here. So I started with 30 US dollars in 2010. So
Wow.
30 US dollars in 2010, and that is like when I convert in T shillings, it's not a lot of money.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, so I started with that, and I started as a matching woman, walking around with my little bag, packing in all the product that I have, selling it in the street. And then one of the aha moment that I got when I was selling these products in the street, first I realized that I'm a very good salesperson.
Yes.
And I realized that I can put up with challenges and keep pushing. So those are the two things that I realized about myself that I did not know. But another thing that I realized that my challenge was much more of the quality of the product. But when I was going to the field, I realized that women had more challenges. Like quantity of product was solving only a certain percent of the many challenges that women were facing. So, and that I could say that was something that really made me continue pushing from 2010 up to date as an entrepreneur, because I could see the struggle of women. And when I'm talking about women, I'm talking about, I started this business when I was like 25 years, 24 years.
Cool.
And by that time, I could meet women who I could call them mothers, but they were telling me the challenges. Like, I was like, what? And even how these things translate their marriage life. And I was like, and I don't have any background in medical, and I didn't know how to advise them. So this is something that made me continue to be into the field, trying to see what are the other things that bothering these women. What are the solutions that we are able to bring on table?
Yep.
So 3 years down the line, working as a solo proprietor, building my capital. The other thing will be the story for other time, but I could say that I was not able to be trusted. And this started from my family. No one would wanted to support me anyhow, because it was like, you went to school, you had this very good degree, you performed very well, you've been even invited to stay back to the university and teach in the university. And now you're doing these things that we even don't understand. It's a shame. So they didn't want to support me anyway financially, but also they did not believe that it is possible to finish university and go straight to entrepreneurship.
Yes.
For them, I remember my uncle told me again, my uncle came back again and told me again, you know what, how about you work at least for 50 years, you get that security, they call like those things they're getting after retire or something. And then you get enough capital to start. But for me, I didn't see myself to that route at all. And this time, nobody was able to convince me to do what they want. So it was a lot of chaos in the family. That's what I'm saying. That's story for another day. But again, back to the main point is 3 years after being able to raise capital, after being able to understand the market and see what is it that I wanted to do, I founded this company, which is called Kasole Secrets.
Yes.
And Kasole is my traditional name, means something tiny and it's beautiful. And secrets is secret. So I believe that I always have some tiny, tiny, beautiful secrets that I could always share with people, maybe to inspire them to be entrepreneurs.
I love that. I love that name. Yeah. Please go ahead. Just before you talk a little bit about Kasole Secrets, one, I love your story. It takes a village to raise a child. I love the fact that you went ahead and you continue to build a really amazing company, despite the challenges that comes with family culture, and you just that fortitude. You said the resilience and just being a good salesperson. I think that's something that a lot of people just have to hear about it. And just you who you are, right? You saw the problem that people might see all the time, young engineering women or women that go and work in the fields. You saw a problem and said, I have to make a difference. And that's something that I'm really, really is really inspiring. I mean, that's why you're here for Builders of Africa's Future, right? You're very resilient. And I'm just really impressed just how far you've gone and how much more you can do with those two qualities, right? Resilience and being a good salesperson. I think it's part of success. But I'll let you continue, please. And one thing that I would love you to talk about is just about the company, right? Kasole Secrets. What you guys are doing now, how you guys are building the company to encompass all the different challenges that women may face and in their day-to-day life experience, right? So if you don't mind sharing a little bit about that, that'll be great.
All right, thank you so much. So in 2013, I founded this company, Kasole Secrets, and the main thing that Kasole Secrets was doing is, so I stopped doing importing parts from Nairobi, Kenya to Tanzania, and the reason why I stopped was the fact that during that time of this political instability in Kenya, that so much Al-Shabaab attack everywhere, and then my supplier in Kenya said like, the business environment is not friendly, and he decided to shut down the business. For me, it was a major blow, and because of him deciding to shut the business, at the time I decided to think differently and think like I can do it myself. I don't have to wait and depend for supply in Kenya, who is having his own vision and mission, which I don't know. Yep. And invest all this amount of energy. As you know, I invested a lot. I put my money, my energy, even I risked my family for this business because nobody understood me. I had to kind of separate from them because every time when I talk to them, they feel like I'm a bit confused because they think the dream I was having was not the realistic dream. Yes. So when this supply in Kenya shut down the business, for me it was a major blow because, as I told you, I lived I was born and raised in Dodoma, and that's where my family is. I moved to this city in Dar es Salaam because of school, and then decided to remain here because of business. So I was on my own, taking care of all the expenses, already have an office, hired one person to help me out with the business. And now this business is shutting down. With all the chaos and all the bad relationship I've created with whoever was advising me for good. Mm-hmm. So that was a big blow for me, very major one. Mm-hmm. So I was spending much of my frustration and my energy finding what else can I do for myself. I did not see myself going back to employment because I already know what I wanted, mm-hmm. and I already know what kind of person I am. And I knew that if I would have worked for myself, I would have gone so far than being working for somebody. Yeah. So I spent much of my time researching, finding out what are the things that I can do for myself. And I really wanted to do sanitary pads because pads for me, I like that quality of those pads. I not see myself going back to using those poor quality pads and all the things that I would be thinking is what I've worked and kind of work that is on my hand comparing to the product that I'm using to. Yeah, so I could say that I spend much of my time researching, and at the end of the day, I realized there's a bamboo plant which is very medicinal, and it has been doing amazing to Asian countries in so many ways. So I started researching on bamboo, and then I started searching the benefit of bamboo in reproductive health, starting relating with the sanitary pads. But again, this time I was like, I'm going through the cramps a lot. Can bamboo also solve the cramps challenges? But at this time also, in 3 years of having this business as a sole proprietor, I was able to have number of good customers. The doctors, they were flocking customers to me, especially women who have complication with the menstrual products. So I was already having these people around me, and then I had people to ask to them. And then at the end of the day, I was like, okay, now I'm gonna make pads using bamboo charcoal, involve the bamboo in it. So those are the idea I had, starting doing the designing and all these things. And then now I feel like, yeah, I'm confident enough. I have the product to go with. Who will produce for me? So when it comes to Tanzania, again, Tanzania, we don't have those skills, don't have the factory to do that. And then that was like, so what can I do? And then I was starting talking to people, telling about the idea I'm having. And then they started referring me, okay, go to Chinese Chamber of Commerce. And I went to Chinese Chamber of Commerce. Oh, we don't do these things. We are dealing with diplomats and what. So we can do business, the summit business in China. We don't want to get into that route. And okay, go to Tanzania Chamber of Commerce. Then I went to Tanzania Chamber of Commerce. Did I say Tanzania Chamber of Commerce? They say Chinese Embassy.
Chinese. The Chinese Chamber.
Yeah, so I started with Chinese Embassy, not Tanzania, not Chinese Chamber, Chinese Embassy, and that's what they said, that they don't do that. And then I was referred to Tanzania Chamber of Commerce. And then the Tanzania Chamber of Commerce was like, okay, we can help you. I think you have a very good idea. We can help you, but don't focus in one specific country. Just open up to whichever country that will help you. And then I ended up being supported by the Chinese Embassy, who connected me with the factory. And I had to go all the way to the factory in China. We're not producing in Tanzania. And visit the factory and see their standards and see how they are there to hygiene, because the products are natural. And this time I really wanted to see by myself and understand these people, because I know what it takes to invest, and at the end of the day these people are kind of decided to close down their businesses. So that's what I did. And to cut the story short, I managed to have my first consignment of glory pads in Tanzania. We started selling it, and then we continue to upgrade as we collect feedback from the customers. But along with that, I decided also to start the menstrual health and hygiene campaign. Because for me, I saw it firsthand. There's no knowledge about it. And even those who are having knowledge about it, they feel very uncomfortable sharing this knowledge. So I started educating menstrual health and hygiene in communities, in schools. So I was taking a certain percent of profit that I was getting from my glory parts to the menstrual health and hygiene programs in communities and in schools. And I realized there was a very huge gap there. Like, it was crazy. Like, I went even to the private schools, and the response I was receiving from girls, I was like, wow, this is unbelievable. So I keep pushing that as this corporate social responsibility, taking the profit from the blood business to this. And I continue to do it, innovating, coming up with new ideas. How about engaging boys into the agenda? How about engaging the gatekeepers? How about developing a curriculum? How about doing this and that and that? Till we became very good in that. And then people starting following us and say, like, can you train our people on how to train about menstrual health and hygiene? Can you develop curriculum for us? Can you share your curriculum with us? And then that was the second aha moment for me that came, was like, oh, okay. And these people were willing to pay me. And I was like, oh, okay, so this can be another source of revenue. And that's how in our company, we added another line whereby it's consultation on menstrual health and hygiene management, including this developing of this training curriculum. So we went that way, and we've been getting many customers coming to us, and most of them were NGOs, and we're doing it. And we continued doing our campaigns as a corporate social responsibility. But at this time, we got these people who are willing to pay for us. And then we went like that. And then to the point, I came to a point I was like, okay, I think there are people in the rural areas that they cannot afford disposable pads. quick on that, I realized that in the village, women and girls cannot really afford the things.
Yeah.
And the new idea that I decided to bring into that, because I realized even giving them pads, it's not sustainable, because till when are you gonna give them these pads?
Yeah.
And I tried giving them disposable, giving them reusable, but at the end of the day, you just find like they're back to their normal situation. Like for the reusable parts, you give them, they go share it, or somebody take it from another one. And then I was like, it's not gonna work. So another idea that I brought in it was like training them on how to make their own reusable parts.
Exactly.
And that's the thing that I started, and I cooperated in our training programs. Whenever we go training on menstrual health and hygiene, we train them on how to make reusable pads.
Mm-hmm.
And then it comes on a challenge like, okay, you're training us to make reusable parts. What are the kind of raw materials? And then I was just trying to find the very common local materials that they can use. At least when you're using these reusable parts, and somebody, your aunt, your mom, your niece, or whoever,
Yep.
take away your parts, you do not need to go and claim it back.
Mm-hmm.
You go make another one for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So after then we started doing that a lot, and then we received this request like, can you really train our group of people on how to make reusable parts for commercial purposes? I was like, oh, okay. And then these people are willing to pay us, and then they bring us a group of people. We train them on how to make reusable for commercial purposes.
Yep.
And then it comes like, oh, we like, there is regulations now. When you start making things for commercial purposes, you have to adhere with the right raw materials, follow up with the standard, all the absorption and everything. Okay. And then all this challenge, like there's no raw materials. Where do they get raw materials? And then I was like, okay, I can provide you raw materials. And then starting providing these people raw materials. So, and this is how I'm explaining to you, just to give you an idea on how we ended up doing these things. It's because on the request that we are getting from the customers themselves. Exactly. So what we do in Kasole is we develop and distribute bamboo import disposable sanitary pads. Yes. And then we do sell raw materials for making reusable sanitary pads. But also we do consultation on menstrual health and hygiene management, as well as entrepreneurship. There are people who want us to train them on how to be entrepreneurs, to be able to reach where they want to reach. And the last thing that we do is supporting innovation around menstrual health and hygiene within communities. Okay. And we do this by partnering with local and international organizations, just to make sure that those innovations at the community level, they get somebody to support them, at least to grow and see whether they could really be investable or they're not, but supporting this kind of innovation. And social impact is at the center of everything we do. So in a summary, that is what we do as Kasole Secrets.
That's amazing. So look at you. Look how far you have gotten. This is, what I really love about this story is that, as entrepreneurs, we get to see the highlights. Right now you're the builders of Africa's future. Your face is gonna be everywhere. You'll be on this podcast, and you'll be on many other podcasts. You might end up being, coming to the US, White House correspondent, many other things. There are many things planned for you, and bright future. But the behind the scenes, like the journey, take you back to from 5, from 6, or just those doubts that you had. Those are the struggles. Like you persevered throughout those really challenging times when no one knew about you. The spotlights were in there, but you persevered. You built. You believed in what you were doing, and you created a system that provided the resources and also the services that led to where you are now. And I think it's just stories, that struggle and how you persevered over it. It's truly beautiful. I think that's the key. Like if we can really crystallize, and this is what I try to do this podcast, to crystallize these challenges for people to not just to feel bad about you, but to also understand that it's part of the process to really become who you are now. Like where you are now is a combination of those doubts, insecurity, but also the perseverance, the persistence, and also the importance of how you build a business, right? You didn't build everything at once. We're not like, oh, I'll start an education company on menstrual health. You started one problem, the problem led to another problem, the problem led to another problem. And now you have a whole system based on need, not based on like, I want to do this because I found this important. So your story is truly, truly, truly inspiring. I'm really getting excited. Goosebumps. Goosebumps.
Thank you.
Goosebumps all the way. I'm so inspired. It's so inspiring. So thank you so much for sharing that. I think just for us to kind of close the session, and I'd love to have you back, after the Builders for Africa feature, or even during the program. The story is still really amazing, just to hear some other aspects of it. But one thing I really, because you do consulting, right, and you also help people to understand if their business is viable for investment or not. What are some of the advice that you would give to entrepreneurs, young entrepreneurs out there who are listening to this podcast, or who look at your story and admire you? What is something that you really encourage them to think about before they start a business, or if they already have a business and they're trying to acquire customers, they're trying to get investment? What are just a few advice or few guidelines that you can help them to think about?
Yeah, so some few guidelines that I would give for anyone who wants to be an entrepreneur, woman, man, young, old, whoever, as long as you want to be an entrepreneur. I would say, like, the first thing is be willing to pay the price. There is a price for that. And the price and the price can be very, very, very high.
Oh man.
Yeah, so be willing to pay that price. And this price can be the challenges that you're facing to build the business that you want to build. These prices could be access to information, access to funding, anything that you want. And the price can even be in terms of knowledge. Like you really don't know anything about entrepreneurship, but you want to be there. Like for me, I was just passionate enough to be an entrepreneur, but I did not know anything about entrepreneurship. I went to school, which they did not teach anything about entrepreneurship. It's like all those hard things, like manual work, the other thing that I was trained to do, but I was not taught anything about doing business. So I entered into these things blank, completely blank. So I had to learn from the mistake. So I could say that number one, be willing to pay the price. It's the part of the process. Don't feel sad. Don't feel disappointed. Don't feel like you are the unluckiest person in the world. No.
Why me? Why me?
Yeah, why me? No. That is the part and parcel of being an entrepreneur. You have to pay the price. Sure. Another thing that I would say is never give up. Never give up on trying. Never give up on even pushing forward, regardless on your situation. As long as you know where you want to go, keep going, keep trying. And when you find like you have challenge or anything, don't sit back and say like, you know what, I'm not gonna do this. Never give up. Keep doing. You never know. Keep doing. And the third thing that I would say is surround yourself with people who will always build you.
Yep.
You could have mentors. You could have network. Anybody who could sit down with you and encourage you and add value to you, so that you could be able to move forward. Don't want to start a business and go ask somebody who has never even tried once running a business. They will always tell you like, no. And this has been my, I learned this hard way. I reached a point that I decided to take my little money that was generated from my business to pay for a mentor. Because I was getting, like, I was sharing these kind of things with people who loves me, and these are the friends, you know. And when you share this challenge with somebody who loves you, what they see is, why are you struggling? Why are you suffering? Why don't so you just find like your friends are so much concerned about your situation to the extent they start searching jobs for you. Because they think that is your solution, the solution you want. And at the end of the day, you just find like, this is not what I want to hear. I don't want you tell me that I'm suffering. I just want you to tell me, why don't you try this? Or why don't you look at this angle? Or I know somebody, why don't you go meet somebody? Maybe he will help you do this. So I could say like, those are the main three things I could advise to any entrepreneurs. For me, I had to learn it very hard way. But the moment I figured out, I actually know who to ask when I have my challenges in business, and the family they're just there for family issues, but not these things that shock them, make them feel sad, and finding solutions that are actually not solutions for my challenges.
I think that those three key points, it's not just for entrepreneurship, but it's in life as well. And you know, and it's so, when you said like, you know, what you're willing to pay, that hit home for me as well. Because it's tough. It's really tough. And the price gets higher and higher and higher. It's like when there's no ceiling, it just keeps going up.
And there's no negotiation.
Exactly. I was like, what did I put myself into? And the second point that you raised about like, feeling bad about yourself is so relatable. Like, why me? Why am I going through this? It's like a Nigerian movie. Why am I going through this? But
you start thinking maybe there's some people who are like doing some witchcraft for you, but it's not. You start like, maybe I should pray throughout the day, but it's not that.
It's like, I love it. This is so good. So 2 last questions. Oh man, this make my morning. 2 last questions. What would you tell young female, not just entrepreneurs, but like young female, just young women who are trying to do something great, right? Because I think what you're doing, it comes off like a health-based company, but I think it goes beyond that. It comes with education, it comes with empowerment, it comes with building the communities. Women in Africa are actually most of the time breadwinners of the family, because they support the family at the back end, even though sometimes men make more than women, or often men make more money than women, but women are the supportive, they're the support of the family. They tend out to really put the family together and take care of the kids in almost all instances. And one thing that is good for us as a nation and as a continent, specifically as Tanzanian nation, Cameroonian nation, is how do we empower women, give them the inspiration, the courage to go ahead and be change makers. What is something that you told young women out there to be thinking about, as someone who has done it, right? Yeah, you have that, you have paid the price and you keep paying the price, right? So if you don't mind sharing, like, what are some of the things that you should be thinking about for any young African woman who's listening to this podcast, or someone who wants to support African women? What should they be thinking about as they are trying to go ahead, to push ahead? I know I've mentioned some of the cost of what you're willing to pay. Don't feel bad about yourself and find the right people. But as someone, I think you have a unique experience, something you can really share that I myself I can share, right? You're on the ground and stuff.
Yeah. So for the women, actually what I could say for the women is, I'm a woman too, and I could say most of the challenges that women we are going through, especially into doing bigger things, I think they are common, and unless you're lucky enough to get out of that kind of mindset. So I would say we do have, I see two major things for us women that will hold us back. One thing, we have this tendency of doubting ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
We doubt ourselves so much to the extent like when somebody is assigning you something to do, like for instance, I told you that I'm a social entrepreneur, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm so maybe I could say let's say have much skills in marketing, let's say. But if somebody come here and offer me to maybe do consultation on, let's say, uh, let's say maybe cash flow. Let's take an example, like consult on how they could do their cash flow.
Yes.
So if you put two people, like a woman and a man, even if he doesn't know it, he will say like, I'll do it.
Yeah.
But for me as a woman, I was like, I'm not that much competent to that area. It is area that I'm not well trained. So I'll step back. And this is what I could say that women real make fun of stuff like these things hold us back. And I had to learn this even by looking at I do employ too, I employ people as well. But every time I ended up like a man who say like, I can do this job, and he will convince you to the extent you believe he can do that job. And then you give him this job and just find like he has no idea. He's thinking that he can go and learn it and come back and do this job. But this woman, when you look and when even hear at her, you say like, this woman is having much more knowledge compared to this one who took this job, who does not even understand. So for me, I would say it is a self-doubt. And what I could advise women is like, you don't need to be competent in anything to be able to act on something. Be willing to learn along the process. Everybody does that. So you don't need to say no. I remember I was appointing one of my team to lead to take that higher role of leading, and she stepped back, was like, this is too huge for me. It's because I know she can do it, but for her she was like thinking like, I have to be perfect, I have to do this, I have to, those kind of things. So and if you find somebody who doesn't have time to due diligence you to kind of pick those potential talents you have inside you, you lose bigger time. Exactly. So for women, just grab opportunity. There's no gender in it. Just grab opportunity and be willing to learn along the way. Don't say like, I have to wait till I become perfect. There's no day you'll be perfect. No. Even me, myself, I started business. It's not like I was knowing everything about it. I did not know anything. I just jumped into it, starting doing it and perfecting as I go. And up to date, I'm perfecting myself. And I learn not to say no to opportunities, especially when they align with my goals. Yes. I say yes to these kind of opportunities, and I'm willing to learn along the way. So women who are listening to this podcast, please don't hold back. Grab opportunity as long as it aligns with your goal, and be willing to learn alongside. Just like men, I found even now I'm having a new staff who convinced me that, and I look at the CV and everything, and now I'm giving work. He's like, he needs me to assist, and I was like, it's men thing that they're overconfident, but yeah.
Oh, for sure. I love that. I love that. No, like, having that belief that, you can learn. I think I love what you said about process, and also having that belief that, you can do it as well. I think it's very important. And when people look at you and say, okay, you are like a portal for them. Like, if she did it, maybe I can start believing myself to do it as well. This is so good. So good. Like these are practical advice. Like, these are things that you can start thinking about. How can you make yourself a lot better? How can you start believing in yourself? I love that everything you recommended is so real and genuine, and I can tell like you have actually done something. Something you have. So the very last question I'd like to ask people about this is, what do you want your legacy to be? What do you want people to remember you? I know you're very young, You have a long way to go. Many things are still coming your way. More prosperity to you. But what do you want people to remember about just your work, right? What you're trying to do at your company, or what you're trying to do for the community? Because I think what you're doing, it won't just have an impact in Africa. It can have a huge impact across the world. There'll be a social impact, there'll be an economic impact, there'll be a political revolution. I don't want to say that here, come after you. But I think there'll be a huge ripple effect on what you do. And I was just wondering from your own mind, and I know sometimes, it's good to always think about others and have a difference, like the difference to make in others. Taking a step back, like how do you want your work to reflect in the next generation or in the community, as you continue to build this incredible company and many more companies, hopefully, that comes along the way?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. So personally, I would really say that I want to have a legacy whereby when people read about myself as an entrepreneur, or read about my company as a company which has really managed to bring a positive change in the world, but also look at the social impact that our work has managed to impact the communities that we're serving. I want people to see hope. That's the thing that I would really want them to see hope, because with my background, growing raised with a very, I came up, when I was born, I was not poor. My father was able to take care of us, but circumstance came, we were very poor. We couldn't even afford having 3 meals a day. We couldn't even afford going to school. Like I used to walk very long distance to school, go and return, and you come back home, no food. So I grew up with that kind of situation. And going, I don't know in your world, but in Tanzania, most of young people, and this is the hope that I want young people to have, women to have, that everybody who is coming, sharing the background like mine to have, you can make it. If you work hard, you believe in yourself, you can work, you can make it. It doesn't, you don't need to have these godfathers and godmothers to give you link and connection to climb that ladder. Because for me, I didn't have any of those. Any of those. I did not being able to maybe able to sell to the stores, because I knew somebody who connected me there. And then that's why I got the green light like that. I was not able to be connected with the Chinese embassy to be able to get the factory, because I personally knew somebody, or I got the memo from somebody, then they helped me. Yeah. No, I just believed in myself. I just really work hard. I really work hard. But also, I just persevered. I did not take one no. You have to tell me at least 20 no's to be able to take it as one no. Exactly. So I really want to leave the legacy of hope. When people look at me, they say I share the same background like this lady. I've been in school with this lady. I know there was a time that the municipal was paying for her tuition fee. I saw this lady in this, we brought food to this lady. We know her mother. We know the story of the family, but she's there. So I can also make it. I can also be there. It just sits on your hard work. It just sits on your willingness to do it. And it just sits on your perseverance to keep pushing. So that's the legacy I would really like to leave behind.
I get a sense of Michelle Obama plus Oprah plus I get so many inspirations right now. It's actually this African American lady that wrote this book called, her name is Viola. She's an actress, Viola. I forgot her first name, and she just came on Oprah show, and she had she's raised by she grew up in abject poverty, And she talked about her struggles and how she overcame them. And it kind of gives me that it gives me the same vibe that you just shared with me. And you are the class of so many greats. And I would say I'm lucky to have met you, because once you really get, you'll be meeting Obama at the Obama Foundation. I'll be like, I knew her. I knew her when I knew her at the Builders of Africa's Future, and I have tape to proof for it, But this was truly, truly, truly inspiring. Your story is, I can't wait for people to hear, and I can't wait for people to hear, because it's so true, so genuine, and it's so powerful. So I really, really thank you for your time, for going through all the technical difficulties, for us to be here. But more importantly, for doing the work you do every single day. It takes a lot of consistency, and just, being at that where you are, that there are very few people that are at that level. So just being able to inspire yourself some days, I can imagine.
I'm telling you.
You have to pat yourself in the back and say, oh man, today's another day, let's go.
I'm telling you, there's so many days you wake up and you're like, is it morning again? I want it to be just night so that I can get over this.
Oh man, that is so true. Like, why is it morning? But it's truly inspiring, and it's a good way to open this series, because I'm so happy. I don't need coffee this morning. I'm just like